So yep, the storm's over and we've got blue sky. But when it stopped raining, and it probably rained for about an hour, not really hard or anything, just kind of steady. And we came outside and Brianne and I started planting squash, and we planted about 6 Cocazello plants and a couple of summer squash and a couple more other different kinds of summer squash and some more other different kinds of summer squash. And we planted, I think, 12 watermelon plants. And so we did a bunch of planting, and then we started doing videos about how I'm going to stake the squash so that they'll grow vertically and not take up so much space. Well, when I went back to edit I don't edit very well, but at least to put it all together for you, I found out that it was pretty much just me and Brianne talking about different things, dealing with the garden when we didn't think that the video was on. Or me telling Baylor, no, Baylor, do not cut another leaf off that zucchini plant. Or me hollering at Kaylee and telling her, please go find your brother. So they weren't very good videos. I guess we'll have to try them again at another time. And we've got enough squash, I think we'll be able to do that. But I think it's going to work really good. The stakes that I got, my mom picked up over at the nursery. And I think she paid a couple of dollars, maybe $3 for each one of them. And they're lightweight. They're not as heavy as, say, rebar. In fact, not even close to as heavy as rebar might be. And they're plastic or some kind of composite material. And they do have little marks on the outside. So the squash, the clamps or the ties, whatever you use, are going to be able to hold on to those really well. But you're just not going to see it today because it didn't get done that way. So anyway, another thing I wanted to talk to you about, sometimes I start talking and I start explaining things, and I think that I'm doing such an awesome job of explaining. And then someone later, like yesterday, my son Kyle said, hey mom, there's a guy at work and he watches your videos. I'm like, great. And he thinks you've lost your mind. Like, okay, why? He doesn't understand why you're putting an aspirin with your tomatoes. Well, see, I thought I'd explain that. So now I will explain it in a little more in depth. If you crush up an aspirin and you plant it with your tomato, it will fight off blight. If your tomato does get blight, it will fight that off. And the way that it does it, aspirin is made of salicylic acid, and that fakes your plant into telling its immune system that it should fight those problems if they should arise. So that's all it does. It's like giving it vitamin C. But don't give it vitamin C, give it aspirin. But thanks for the question. But you know what? If you think I'm off my gourd, or you think I've lost my mind, or any of those number of things, just ask me right down there in the bottom. I will answer your question. And honestly, usually most of the questions are really good ones. Like the other day, Hannah asked me, she said, our tomato plants are only about 18 inches tall. And they've got blossoms on them. Should we cut them off? And I said, yes, you should. And I have cut off all the blossoms on the tomato plants that I've planted, except for 2. And the reason I did those is purely personal. Me and my dad used to have a race to see who would have the very first tomato on the plant that you could see, that were good size, that you could see them. And that the winner got, bragging rights. And then the next one was whoever got the first ripe tomato. And so every year I leave some blossoms on the tomatoes. I don't cut them off so I can beat my dad. And I hope he knows that that's for him. So anyway, if you've got any more questions, you answer them or ask them. And if you like the videos that you watch, would you please give them a thumbs up? And if you want to subscribe, go for it. Do it. All it does is make me know that I'm reaching out to somebody, that something that I am telling you is of some benefit. So, and that's just another personal thing. I just need to have that affirmation, I guess, something to tell me that I'm doing right. I did plant some more tomatoes, but I'm nowhere near having enough tomatoes planted. I do think that we've just about got everything else out of the garden, except one of the beds that Brianne and Weston put together for me, we put them kind of over between the canning shed and the greenhouse. And I'm going to put pumpkins, a couple of pumpkin plants, and a couple of other kind of squash plants. I don't know what they are. Can't remember. Butternut maybe, or spaghetti squash, I don't know. But the reason we're putting them over there is I'm not going to stake them. I'm just going to, they're over by the retaining wall. They're going to have a little more free space to go over the top of the rocks. So I'll just plant them down in that raised bed and then just let them go over the side. And so we'll see how that does. And that was the same thing with those watermelon plants that I planted today. I didn't have, I'm pretty sure that well, I know you can stake watermelon plants and get them to grow up a vine. Lots of people do. I just don't have those vines here right now that I can do that with. And so next year we'll put some more trellises up. We'll put some more grow beds. I'm kind of running out of places to plant. And it's not, well, let me show you. So the only bed that's not planted yet is that one right there. And I'm going to pick up the cattle panel for it tomorrow, and then we'll get that trellis put up, and then that's where 4 more summer squash plants and the cantaloupe are going. But then all the rest of these beds have been planted, including right there by the compost barrel, right behind that trellis that you can see. Maybe you can't hardly see it, but there's some water troughs. They've all been planted. And then right over here, you see those right there, there's 3 oak barrels, and that's where the watermelon are going to go. And they're going to go ahead and be able to run all over the ground over there too. But other than that, there's a couple of yellow, well, I've got another oak barrel right there, but it's in the shade and it's kind of hard to move. So I'm not sure what I'm going to put there. But right there in the putting green, my husband decided he was a golfer many years ago, and he decided he needed a putting green. So when we built this house up here, we put a putting green in there. And honestly, he putted on that maybe the first year, maybe the second, and then it just became a mess there. And so then a few years ago, he put the trampoline over there, and I don't know if you can see. Nope, you can't see the trampoline through the current bush, but there's trampolines over there. And then I'm also going to put my lawn furniture over there because, well, let me show you why. So this is why I'm going to put, see, there's the trampoline that's not up yet, and boy, did I get told about it today by Kaylee. But this is the reason I'm going to put my lawn furniture over here, is so that when I decide to sit down, I can just come out here and look at this. I think it's kind of pretty. So I promise you that you won't see a video about staking zucchini today, but you will see one this week, because Brianne's going to come over and help me finish that. And that greenhouse, I have a berry patch and it has seen better days. And I need to get the water line ran over to the berry patch so that I don't have to go out there and water it by hand every day. And then as soon as that water line's run out there, I'm going to get all of the plants, the raspberries and josta berries and I don't know, all those berry plants anyway that are in the greenhouse, along with all of the fruit trees. They need to be put in this week as well. I did take my mom's fruit trees to her yesterday morning before I went to Twila, and they're in, and they'll be growing much faster than mine. So see, my mom and I even have races, and she's winning. Her garden is completely finished, and she's doing so good with it. I love it. But anyway, you guys have a good night. I just had a phone call from a friend that needs me to cover her ambulance shift so that she can go to a viewing, and I will do that for my friend. I love you, Nancy. And I will talk to y'all probably tomorrow. Bye.